Fantastic.
Good morning.
Good morning. We're just letting everybody connect. Could be a couple of minutes, so we'll give them a minute or so to get situated. Let's just double check who is missing. I still have 11 yet. Okay, not a problem. Just give me 1 second. I'm just going to include this group. Oops. Add here. Fantastic. Okay. And one more minute. Let's just get these in there. Fantastic. So there's just a couple who haven't joined, but that's okay. We're going to continue anyhow. So hopefully you had a fantastic weekend where you got to relax and take it easy and are ready to start working again and get into PowerPoint. So all of you should have received an email from me at this point. And for anyone who is not too sure, I'm just going to mute you. Fantastic. So just one little bit of housekeeping. If you want to speak up, do so. Don't be afraid to do so. You can either do it in the chat or you can just simply unmute yourself. But when you're not speaking, please mute your microphone and that'll help everybody concerned. So the good thing is PowerPoint is probably one of the most fascinating programs because it's very creative. And maybe you aren't as creative as you'd like to be, but that doesn't mean you can't be. So this is a product that allows you to experiment a great deal. And just like any other program within Microsoft Office, you have to get into the habit of playing a little bit. Click on everything and see what it does. Because you never know if you can achieve something until, of course, you start to experiment a little bit and get a good feel for what is possible and what is not possible. And yet within PowerPoint, it's a tremendous amount that is possible. So without further ado, let's take a look at what we're going to be doing. So the first thing is I've sent you an email, and that email actually contained a file, actually contains several files, and I'll be adding to that as well as we go along. And let me just open this up a little bit. We'll get rid of some of this extra we don't need. So I sent you a file. By the way, can you all see my screen? Just better double check on that one too.
Yes, Michael.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
just double checking. Fantastic. So what we're going to be doing is exploring PowerPoint fundamentally from the beginning, and then we're going to start to expand it. So just like an onion, we're going to peel it back a little bit because PowerPoint has some amazing capabilities. And just a little off topic to give you an idea, there are a number of people a few years back who actually decided that PowerPoint made a brilliant book because it has interactivity within it. So instead of trying to write books, they decided to use PowerPoint because every sheet within a PowerPoint literally could be an individual page within a book. So people actually started doing that and they did it extremely well. Some of them have become very wealthy as a result. And we'll explore some of those possibilities near the end of the week. So here, what we really want to take a look at is what we're going to learn in this course. We definitely want to understand this interface. Like Microsoft always does, all of these interfaces were fundamentally designed for your sake. So you have the ability to turn things on and turn them off if they're in the way or if they're kind of distracting you in one way or another. You have the ability to modify the interface so it represents your interest in what you do with the product. Just because there's a ribbon doesn't mean you have to show everything. We also want to take a look at presentations, recalling the process to create a presentation. Now, one thing about presentations, as we'll just examine as we go along, is that one of the presentations you'll be doing a little bit later, a few weeks from now, is actually based on this particular course. So we'll talk a little bit about that probably tomorrow, and that'll give you a better indication. We'll also take a look at how graphic objects are actually layered. If you really think about how presentations or PowerPoints are put together, it's really like layering one thing on top of another. So this means that everything is independent and everything can move around by itself. That also means you can animate things. And this is really one of the most powerful elements within PowerPoint is its ability to animate and to be able to accentuate and show itself in a slightly different context when you're ready for it. And we're going to explore a number of those. We'll also take a look at modifying graphics, and we'll also take a look at preparing and delivering a presentation, because there are companies out there that do nothing but create presentations. So it really is to your advantage to learn about this product. And the great news is virtually every business I've ever run into anyhow literally uses PowerPoint in one form or another, whether to get a point across to the general public or to another business. This is a brilliant tool. So we really are going to have a little bit of fun with this. Now, in addition to this, you also are going to have MindTap. For all of the students at this point, you have received an email from Academic Services, or it could be TRIOS Materials, whichever one it is. In that case, you have a number. That number is going to assist you to connect to Cengage. Now, we're going to do that a little bit later, so don't worry about it right now. For the older students who have been with me from the previous course, Excel or Word, I'll be actually sharing with you a specific number for the course. So that course number will actually be given to you in the chat, but I'll let you know when I'm going to put that in there as well, especially when I want to show you what it looks like. So for the newer students who are just joining us for the first time, you will have received a special email from Materials, and that will have a yellow banner in it, and it'll also have a number, and it'll have your username and your password. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes, so don't worry about it right at the moment. So in order for you to recognize whether or not you pass this particular course by the end of the week, we've broken it down a little bit. So I just want to go over these numbers a little bit. The training, which is actually on the Cengage website, these trainings are essential. Sometimes students don't recognize just how important they are, but it's 10% of your mark. And if you're not complying with finishing them, then it literally doesn't give you that 10%. And sometimes that can be enough to pass the course if you're borderline. Passing is actually 60%. Assignments, there are assignments, and those assignments are worth a total of 40%. And the final exam is worth 40%, which is on Friday. So remember, on Friday, you do have a final exam, and it's going to be about 2.5 to 3 hours in length. Professional performance is something that I will gauge you on. And this is your ability to interact and to finish your trainings on time, to arrive for class on time, and a variety of other little nuances that we look at as well. And keyboarding. Now, I'm pretty sure that you've all received your keyboarding by now. I've gotten a copy of all of them. I strongly recommend that you take it slow. When you're looking at keyboarding, it's important when you set up your account to make sure that you are literally taking it one step at a time. Within the email you receive, there is a code. That code is separate from Office. So, and this is also another website that you're going to. It's called Sam Cengage rather than just Cengage. So it's really important for you to actually set up that account correctly. And if you have any difficulties, contact me right away and I will try to walk you through it. Or what I'll probably do is try to set it up for you. But there are so many students that sometimes it's difficult to do them all at once. So the passing grade, once again, was 60%, and that's a D to actually pass this course. To give you an example, the average student in this course is usually an A or a B. So in other words, anywhere from 100 to 85%. They're usually within that category. And the reason is because this is a fun one. This is one that you can actually play around with a little bit. So don't be afraid to click on everything. And also, let's take a look at the entire week. So we're going to break it down piece by piece, and I'm going to be showing you a lot more than what the training will show you in some ways. And I'll be recording every day, and I'll show you that in a moment as well. So day number one, how to create a presentation, but I'm going to walk you through some nuances about it so that we can explore how it actually is represented and what it will look like as we start to experiment a little bit. And we'll take a look at some of the key combinations on the keyboard to kind of help you speed up the process a little bit. We'll also take a look at day number two is adding media and special effects. There are so many things that you can experiment with here. You can put video in, audio in. If you wanted to do a voiceover, all you need is your computer's ability to store your voice as you're talking. So in other words, your microphone. And there is within Word the ability, or sorry, not only Word, but also in some of the other applications within Windows, the ability to record your voice. And you probably have one of these idiotic little things called a cell phone. Well, the cell phone also can record your voice and then share the file. And you can put that file inside of your PowerPoints so it can actually be a kiosk where it can run all by itself. And in fact, we'll even take a look at that. In day number three, we're going to take a look at how we format some of those objects, because it isn't just simplistic. Because they're all layered, we can individually alter each one of them. And we're going to experiment with that a bit. And also day number four, adding media and also special effects. There are lots of effects, whether it's a transition between one slide and the next one, or what is happening within a slide. And we can even put buttons in there where we can jump around a little bit. We used to do this for tests. It was really a lot of fun to do this. So we're going to experiment with that as well. One of the other things here is you're going to notice that with the activities for each day, there is work on a project. There is an actual project that you're going to begin starting with today as well. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. I'm not going to jump into it just a second. And once again, on Friday, you have the final exam. So let's take a look at a few other elements here before we go any further. I'm just going to minimize that. And I'm going to bring Teams back. So there's Teams. And just going to remove that chat for a second. So inside of Teams, now for the newer students, this is also an extra resource that I created specifically for you. In this situation, Teams on the left-hand side, if you open that up by clicking on it, you'll often notice, and it would be nice if this thing didn't show up on it. Just give me 1 second here. Inside of Teams, it's going to move around and I can't get rid of it. There we go. Okay. Well, behind that little rectangle, we actually have PowerPoint. And you'll actually notice that when you open it up, it'll say PowerPoint. You were invited to this as well. This is not where the class takes place. The class is the part that we're actually communicating right now. But this was created as an additional resource. And in here, you have a chat that you guys can use to communicate amongst yourselves. And in addition to that, you also have resources. Now, resources are videos that on a daily basis that I'm recording and then I'm posting. So these ones that already exist here are from a previous class, and I will slowly be removing these ones as well. So you have day 1, 2, 3, and 4. Fantastic. Muting is fun.
Hi, Michael.
Yes?
I just wanted to know, what is the registration key on Cengage for PowerPoint?
Well, once again, if you wait a little while, then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
You were within Excel, correct?
Yes.
Ms. Christopher? Yeah, okay. So just wait a little while and then we'll talk about Cengage. I just want to take it one step at a time first.
Okay.
So as you can see here, there are videos. I'm going to be removing these ones and putting in alternatives to this, which will be what we cover. Now, for those individuals who are setting up for the first time your Cengage, and this is only for those students who are brand spanking new today, then there is a video here as well, and that will walk you through the process of actually, applying the email that they actually sent you. In addition to that, the demo file, I have sent it to you, but if you need another copy of it, there are 2 sources here. This particular slide, and you can click on it, it will download the file for you, and the student outline is here as well, so you can always take a look at the outline so that you can see specifically where you are, what you're doing, and what day it is. In addition to this, at the top, you'll notice here that there is posts and there is files. When you click on files, it has a large number of files that are available to you. The first one is, in this case here, you will see that there is the student outline. So this is the course outline. The demo file is here, and so is the information about the presentation you'll be doing. Now, one thing to keep in mind, do not click on these links. Click on the little circle here at the beginning. When you click on that, it'll highlight it, and then you can use the arrow at the top which says download. So let me just open that up, and you'll see download here. When you click on download, it'll automatically download it to the bottom of your screen inside of your folder, downloads. So you'll be able to open it up at that particular point. So keep that in mind, and you can download all of these files that are here. In addition to this, I put in Module 1 and Module 2. These are the files required by the book. So when you actually do open up the book inside of Cengage, it is an online resource, then you will probably want to do some of the exercises there as well. So it really is 3 different resources we're using here. My training to you, also the training on Cengage, and of course the book itself. So inside of that, there are a lot of files, and it will walk you through each and every one of these, how to use the particular files. But the files are here, just download them. Don't open them up, because when you open them, you affect them, and the next student won't be able to use them. So make sure that you're actually downloading these things. There's another channel here called Training Videos, Now, there's nothing in it right now, but I may decide to use this a little bit later. So the first one is general, and this is the one you guys can communicate with one another. Looks like a couple of you have already done so, but do not leave any comments in the other two, resources or trading. So this is available to you. You all received access to it, so it is available. Now, let me just take a look at Cengage for a moment. Okay, just going to pull that out of the way. And just going to log into Cengage for a moment. Now, for all of you, don't worry about this right at the moment. We'll come back to this a little bit later. This is not something we have to do right at this moment. I just want to show the newer students and the older students exactly what is available here. And the reason I'm doing this now and haven't set it up before is simply because after a few minutes, it logs me out. So I have to take it one step at a time. Okay, and we want PowerPoint. Okay, and PowerPoint. So for the newer students and the older students, when you actually do go to Cengage a little bit later on today, what you're going to notice is that there are three elements here. The first element is the folder PowerPoint. And if I click on this, of course, I have 4 modules. Now, the other beautiful thing about this is because you only have one giant project, which is down here, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes, you really only have training and you have the book. Now, when you're using this book, you're actually using, and I'll just open up the book for a moment. Each module, you're seeing only what is in that module in the book. So you can click on any one of these and it'll take you to that part of the book. And of course, you can always jump between the pages by simply using the chevrons here on the side. Fantastic. So in addition to that, you also have training. And when you click on the training, and it's important sometimes, especially when there's a lot of graphics, that you take it slowly. And you also make sure that your browser is fully open and it's not partially open, because some of the graphics will hide some of the content, but depending entirely on how your screen is set up. So within the training on Cengage, you'll have a number of different elements. Up here on the left-hand side at the top, you'll see a list of different requirements that they'll walk through. Each one of these is an independent animation, and you'll walk through each one of these. When you have completed it successfully, it'll put a little check mark. You need all of these within today's training to have a, let's say, a mark. Otherwise, you get no grade for it if there's anything that is not done. So in this case here, we would go through this. We would walk through the observe. The info tells me that there are different ways of doing this. You can use the ribbon, the mouse, or we can use some other features on a Macintosh. Macintosh is not heavily used by Cengage, so it doesn't always work very well with it. If you have a Macintosh and you have not communicated with TRIOS support, I strongly recommend that after class you do so and have them set you up with a virtual connection to a classroom. What they will do is create a small piece of software on your computer, and that will allow you to connect to a computer inside a physical classroom. And in those machines, you have Windows, and therefore you can actually run Windows inside of Macintosh, and you'll be able to do any of the projects that we're actually working on. So make sure that this is definitely something that you're working on. Inside of Observe, when you click on this, So she's going to walk you through the process, and you just listen and you watch what she's actually doing. Inside of practice, it's a little different because it's the same thing, except this time they only tell you what to do, and it's now your turn to click on something. In apply, you're only given the scenario, and it's up to you to do whatever they've asked you to do. So creating a new presentation, you can go to File, I can click on New, and I can click on the blank presentation. And of course, it says you have completed the exercise. Well, if I completed it correctly, it should have put a check mark. And there's my check mark. So I needed a check mark all the way down on each one of these. So you have to do each one of them. But the good news is you don't do it just once. You can do it as many times as you are interested in performing the training. So you can do the training over and over and over again. And it really is to your advantage to do just that. And each one of these modules is a different day. So the second one is tomorrow. It will open up tomorrow. The next one will open up on Wednesday, and it will be available to you. So it's not something where you have to race through them as quickly as possible. You want to do them individually, one day at a time, and really master it. And one of the things that you really, really want to do is learn to be a child again. Click on everything. Don't be afraid to click on things because you can't destroy it. All you can do is mess it up a little bit and then start over again. No big deal. But you learn a great deal by experimenting. This is what children do. This is what you need to do as well. So this is something we'll explore a little bit later, which is the send gauge. And inside of chat, I'm just simply going to throw the key. Please, only those students who have been with me for a period of time, not the new students today. Yours are different. You received an email. So inside the chat, I'm going to throw that number. There it is. This is just for the older students who have been with me for a little while. Fantastic. So let's put that aside. And then come back over here for a moment. Fantastic. So there it is inside the chat. Now I'm just going to do your attendance very quickly. Fantastic. Good show. So let's take a look at where we're going right now. Just going to open up PowerPoint. It would be nice if it opened up on the right screen. There we go. Fantastic. So there's my PowerPoint. Accepted. Okay, good job. Sorry, but every so often I have to double check my emails as well just to make sure everybody is connecting. So here's PowerPoint. This is an exciting program. Now I want to explain it a little bit and make sure that you're listening carefully. We have a ribbon at the top which we can remove if we don't want it. Microsoft believes that this is what you would like to see. Now I'm just going to remove my face here for a moment. There we go. And I'm going to expand it. So this ribbon can be modified or changed to any way you want. So if you think having all of this stuff is really kind of, getting your attention and drawing you away from what you need to do, then you can remove it again. Each one of the tabs here can actually give you more options that are available. And we'll talk a great deal about what each one of these actually does as we begin to explore them. And there are a lot of different variations. In fact, we can even add more tabs. So if you wanted to create your own tab, you could do that as well. There's one here I want you to remember, and I want you to write it down somewhere, and that's the file. When you click on File, it takes you to what we call the backstage. The backstage is where everything is happening in the background. So this is where we save information. This is where we modify the appearance of what we see on the screen. This is where we open up old documents or new documents. And let's just say that something went wrong and you found that you lost everything because the program closed on you. Well, the nice feature here is when we go to the backstage in Open, there's a little button at the end here that says Recover. And this means that if you've lost something, it kind of goes looking for it and it tries to find what you've lost. So if the program closed by fault, let's say your computer crashed or you lost internet or what have you, sometimes you can find the program that you're looking for here. So in this case, when we open up the PowerPoint, down here at the bottom in unsaved presentations would be the one we were working on. So you always have that resource available to you. So we have the home function, which allows us to choose the kind of, let's say, template we're looking for, like a blank, or we want to build it up, or we want to use something that already exists. And the good news is there are literally hundreds of thousands of templates available on the Microsoft site. So you can always download them. 99.9% of them are free. Be very careful. Some of them do require you pay for them. Well, there's enough good ones that you don't have to worry about it. So it's free. And you just pick and choose the type of, let's say, one that you would like to use. Because there's a picture in it doesn't mean anything. You can change the picture anytime you want to. So you can use templates. We can save the document. There's information about it, tells us when the last time is it was opened. And this is really nice because this primarily tells us, is this the document we wanted or is this an old document? So you can usually tell by looking at the time of day and also which day it was and who created it. Your name will be here because you're the one who opens it and then saves it again. There's some other features here, and we're going to take a look at everything that's here a little bit later. Right now, we don't want to be bothered with it. So I'm just going to click on the little arrow at the top. That'll take me back. And there we are. We're right back to our work area. What you see here as a little slide, okay, the white area is all you will see. So I want you to remember the following. On the keyboard, you'll see function keys at the top. For those of you with a Macintosh, I'm not too sure how it works, so I can't really say anything. But for Windows, at the top of your keyboard, you'll see F keys. It'll go from F1 all the way up to F12. So for these F keys, they're very important to you because they allow you to start a presentation without having to use a mouse. So F5 allows us to see what's on that particular slide. So now I can actually see what would actually be in that slide. And if I press Escape on the keyboard, far left-hand side at the very top, then it takes me right back to where I was again. So F5 is the first key I want you to remember. The other keys I would like you to write down is Control. And you'll see on your keyboard, you have a control key on the left-hand side at the very bottom of the keyboard. When you hold that down, Tweety bird, okay. So when you hold down that control key and you click on the C as in cat, it will automatically copy whatever you have selected. And that's important. And if you hold the control key down with the V key, as in Victor or Victory, then you'll actually discover that it will paste the information. Now we'll come back to that, but I want you to remember those because they're important to you. Excuse me. So what you see here in this one area right in the middle, this is your work area. Anything that is not inside of that little white space that shows you the slide will not be visible. So if I were to put something there, and let me just do that quickly so that we get an idea. I'm just going to put a shape. There we go. So I'll put a star. And I'll simply draw my star in here. So there's my star. Good show. And I'll put it half on and half off because I want you to notice something. Anything that is not inside of this work area that we're looking at right now that has that shape of a rectangle will not be visible. So if I press that F5 again, you notice something? Anything outside of that periphery for the rectangle is no longer visible. And that's a beautiful feature. I'm going to press escape again. There we go. So we're right back again. And of course, there are little things. We'll talk about some of these factors a little bit later where we can actually experiment with objects. But everything is floating on top of that screen. So let me delete this. Now, on the left-hand side, you see thumbnails. But there are several ways of actually seeing this information. If I click on a thumbnail, I can see the slide that's associated with it. In fact, I can even see how many slides we have. We have 7 in total. So there's 7 here. But I could have thousands if I wanted to. I'm very much aware of a company called Cara Foods, that deals with the airlines. They actually have presentations, PowerPoint presentations, that are in the tens of thousands of sheets. And the reason is they customize them for their customers. So they just pick and choose what they want, and then they put them together as a brand new set of slides. So you can have as many as you want, as long as you have enough memory in your computer, it can actually demonstrate them for you. So go back up here to the top. So one of the other things I want you to remember as well is some other things about the keyboard. If I press on Control, and let me just jump back up here again to the top. If I hold the Control key down, and in the middle of your keyboard, you'll see that there are a number of keys. One is called Insert, Home, Up, Down, Delete, and also End. If I hold the Control key down and I press on End, it will take me to the end. In other words, the last possible slide. And if I hold it down and I press Home, so Control and Home, it takes me to the first slide. And if I use Page Down, it will take me to the next slide. And then if I use Page Up, it takes me to the next slide above it. So just keep in mind your keyboard can actually be much faster than clicking with the mouse, because sometimes you have to click many, many times with the mouse. So just a side note, if you ever have difficulty with your mouse and it's not working very well, what you can do is press the ALT, which is called the alternate key. If I press that on the keyboard, you'll notice that all of a sudden I get these little dark letters and numbers. What they mean is that if I press that on the keyboard, it will take me to that tab. So what if I want help? All I have to do is press Y on the keyboard and it takes me to the help screen. And you notice it's still lit up. So this means until I press ALT again, I can continue using just the keyboard without the mouse. So if I want to give, let's say I want help, I just press on H. And on the side here, it'll open up my help screen. So ALT as a key on your keyboard can actually allow you to jump around. So I'm going to press H for home. And now I'm back to the home. And of course, you notice that anything, by the way, that is grayed out is grayed out because at this point, whatever you're doing, it doesn't apply. And therefore, it's not an option. If it's highlighted or selected, it can be applied in some way or another. But if it's grayed out as it is throughout all of this center section here and some of the other elements that are available to you, these are all tools. It just simply means that you can't do anything with it because it doesn't apply at this point. But if I were to highlight text, all of a sudden it's available. But without it, you notice when I'm not selecting it, it's not available because I can't do anything with the font if I don't know what font I want to do something to. So this is important to remember as well. Within the ribbon, you will only be able to use the tools that are currently applicable. Why is that important? Because some of you will run into this on a final exam. You'll go looking for something that you know needs to be used, but it won't be available. So this means that you have not selected what is necessary, or it just simply doesn't work with what you're trying to accomplish. On the right-hand side at the very top, you'll notice that there is a button here that has an arrow in it. This is the display option for the ribbon. Now, keep in mind, for some of you, you're using a laptop and maybe you don't have a lot of space in the screen. So sometimes it's nice if you can turn off the ribbon because it kind of takes up too much space. So what you can do, and there are several options here. If I click on it, there are 3 options. The first one is show me the ribbon, which is what it's doing right now. The next one is only show me the tabs. So let me click on that. And now you can see just the tabs at the top here. But here's the good news. If I need the ribbon, all I need to do is click on it. And now it appears. But there's one thing to keep in mind here when you only show the tabs. It hides the information underneath it. Whereas if I only use the ribbon, watch what happens. I can see slide 2 here in the thumbnails. But when I choose the ribbon, I can now see that 1 is there as well. And it's not hiding. The ribbon is not overlapping my screen. But when I'm using only the tabs, then it has nowhere else to put it except on top. So just keep that in mind that you're not losing anything. As soon as you click on your slide again, it disappears. The third option that is available here is to get rid of all of that stuff and just see your slides. So if I click on auto hide the ribbon, now the ribbon's gone. But if I put my mouse to the top, now there's a reason for this. Let's say I want this to be larger. Well, it looks a lot larger to me. And if I put my mouse to the top, I will see the actual ribbon is up here. If I click on that orange area, it automatically opens up the ribbon. But again, it's overlapping what I have underneath. So remember, this is layered, one layer on top of another. And if I click on my slide again, it disappears. So this will give you a lot more space available. I'm just going to move Snagit out of the way. There we go. Fantastic. So just keep that in mind that you do have the ability to open up your ribbon at any time, and especially if you don't really need it to be there all the time. Okay, fantastic. So just going to get rid of this crap at the top there. Okay, so let's take a look at this ribbon more carefully. There. We have the Home tab, which deals fundamentally with anything that we layer on top of this, like font. So if I want to type into this, or I want to copy or paste information, I'll always do it from the Home tab. If I, for instance, want to make arrangements to modify this or find something inside of the slides, any of the slides, by the way, this is the tab I would actually use. If I wanted to change some of the formatting, this is the slide, the tab I would use. Again, is Home. And if I want to add more slides, I can do that from here as well by simply clicking on and choosing one of those slides. And there are many different types of slides. We're going to take a look at these a little bit later. So in this situation here, I have a specific slide, and you'll notice it's highlighted. If I click on the next one, it highlights, so I'll always know exactly which slide I'm looking at any given point. And there's a little line here in the between. I can make that bigger by dragging it to the side or drag it the other way if it's just I need more space. So it's always up to you how you represent your slides here as well. And of course, at the very bottom, we can actually put notes here by simply dragging this line up and typing in something like this is the first slide in my group of slides. So you can actually type something in here. And the good news is, and I'm going to leave that there for now. The good news is I would be able to type anything, and I would therefore be able to print this information separately as well. So this is nice. These are called the notes. So once again, let's just take a look here at our slide. This particular type of slide that we're looking at right now happens to be a unique one. This is called a title slide. It has a fundamental title in the middle, which is right here, this Learn Write in Corp. And then, of course, it has a sub menu as well, or a subtitle. In this case here, click to add subtitle. Now, here's the good news. When you start off with a slide for the first time, it shows you click to add a title. But if I press F5, remember, anything that is on the slide is going to be visible. So I'll click on F5. And let me just jump to that slide. We'll just jump to the next slide. So there's my slide. But there's no click to add a title. That's because it's nothing more than a placeholder. This information is a placeholder. And when I click on it, I can type in anything I like. So I'm going to put my name in here, and I'll put my last name underneath it. There we go. And now I'll press F5 so I can actually see the content. And we'll just jump to that slide. There you go. So now it shows me, but only what I type into it. So let me delete that slide for a moment. There we go. So this is a title slide, and there are many different kinds of slide. What's interesting about these slides, and I'm just going to click on this one here, which is a title and content, is that they're kind of pre-designed for you. Microsoft decided that if they gave you particular types of slide, you would be able to insert information with ease. These are based on a master copy. And near the end of the week, we'll take a look at the masters, but I don't want you playing with them just yet. I want you to get used to this tool first. So here we have a title. And remember, if I press F5, you're not going to see anything. So I'm going to put that above. By the way, you can drag and drop these anywhere you want them. I'll put it at the top. And if I press F5, of course, there's nothing there. And if I press escape, of course, we can see there is something there, but I haven't added yet. So I'll put in TRIOS College. There we go. So TRIOS College is here. Now you notice here, this is a title, but down here it starts off with a bullet point because the assumption is you would like to type something in. So if I put in here first line, so I'm going to click, and you'll notice it grays it out. And it says, okay, here's my insertion point. That little flashing line means I can start typing. So I'm going to put in first line. So there's my first line. And if I now press enter, it takes me to the next bulleted line. And I can put in, well, let's say, yeah, let's put in second line. Okay. Second line. There you go. And I'll press enter. And there's my third line. Okay, so there's line number 3. And then, of course, what if I didn't want to put the fourth line in right away? What if I wanted to have a sub character or a sub line or a subtitle? Instead of third, I'd like it to be third plus 1. So I'm going to press, oops, I'm going to press enter. This time, instead of typing, I'm going to press the tab key. So the tab key is on the far left-hand side of the keyboard. It's denoted by arrows that go in 2 separate directions. And I'll press that and it will indent Now notice something happened here. It not only indented, but it changed the bullet point. So if I put in 3 plus, okay, so this is now 3 plus, and I press enter again, it jumps right back to that same subscript bullet point. If I then press tab again, it indents even further, but now it's getting smaller. So now if I put in 3 plus plus, okay, and I press enter and I decide to press tab again, it indents even further and smaller. So now I put in 3 plus plus plus. I'll press enter, I'll press tab, and you notice it's gone even smaller, but this time it's a double chevron. And I'll put in plus 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 plus. You get the idea that it actually is pre-designed for me, so that as I use these bullet points, it automatically will change the bullet if I indent, and it will go to a sub-layer each time that it does that. Well, we can always change those bullet points, and of course you're going to play with this. We're going to talk about it a couple of days from now as well. But you can always change these around, saying, wait a minute now, I don't like having, let's say, the double chevron. I would like to have, oh, this symbol here. Oh, wait a minute, no, I don't like that one. I'll take a clock. So I can actually put a clock in here. I can put a major chevron or a little square, or I can put a box, or in fact, I can go in here and I can choose anything I want. And that includes a picture. So I'm just simply going to throw a little picture in here as well. Let's put in the beans. Fantastic. So there's my beanies. So I got little green beanies. So I can put in anything I want to put in here. And at any point, I can decide to make some changes. So I'll press enter. And I'll just insert by pressing tab. There you go. And this is my first line plus. So I moved in slightly. So we can actually use the keyboard and the mouse in conjunction and do a lot of different things. But this particular type of slide has content and a title. Of course, we can modify this to our heart's content. This is not enough. We can really change this. So I'm going to just simply backtrack. And here's some more keys for you to remember on the keyboard. Control and Z. Control Z takes me one step backwards. Every time I press Control Z, it takes me one step backwards. Okay. Now, there's one other thing I can do. Instead of Control Z, which is kind of slow, what I could do is simply go up to the left-hand side at the very top. There is a little set of icons, and this is called the Quick Access Toolbar. And here you'll notice an arrow that goes backwards. If I click on the little drop-down arrow, I can actually go backwards several steps at once. And if I click on that, it takes me right back a little bit to the last time it was saving that document. Fantastic. So here we are back again to where we started, but there's something in the middle. And as I put my mouse over them, you'll notice they highlight, because these are things that Microsoft thought maybe you want to do this as well. Well, in this case, I could simply type here anything I want to type, or what I could do is put in, let's say, a little table. So I can actually put a table in here. Well, there you go. There's a table. It has 2 rows and it has 5 columns. And of course, I could change the color anytime I want to. This is a beautiful little tool that you can experiment with and play around a great deal as well. Just going to backtrack. There we go. Just backtrack all the way. There you go. And I can also put a chart in. And this means I don't really have to think very heavily. So I just click on chart, and it says, what kind of chart? I kind of like the let's say our pie chart. So here's my pie chart, and I like the three-dimensional pie chart. So I'm going to click on that one. And now it's going to ask me, what's the data you want to put in here? So I could say this is cat. Now, for those who were in Excel, you basically know what's coming next. We have dog underneath. And below that, I'm going to put in mouse. And below that, I'll put in bird. Fantastic. And we'll leave the numbers the way they are. So here we have a little chart, and as soon as I'm finished typing in what I want, I can click away from it, and I can close that. And now my chart is based on the data that I've just selected. And of course, if I double click on it, of course, I can now modify it with different styles that I might want to put in here. Maybe I want it to look more like this, or I want it to look like that. Of course, we can make all kinds of changes at this point. This is why it's really important for you to get into the habit of literally playing with this particular product. The next one allows me to enter a smart art. This is something we're going to look at tomorrow in a big way. And this is a very interesting product where you can pick and choose a variety of different things. In fact, you can even decide that you would like to modify this even further and have different color combinations that you want to use in it as well. And of course, we can change that depending on the theme. So let me just backtrack again. There we go. And of course, we may want to put in a 3D model. This is relatively new for Microsoft. Microsoft incorporated this because of Macintosh and what Macintosh had done. So lots of different variations here. I'm just going to choose our little dinosaur. So I'll insert my dinosaur, Dinosaurus. There's my dinosaur. So I'm just going to make him a little bigger. Put him in the middle here. And we'll turn him a little bit because it looks better when he's walking towards you. Okay, there he is. So I'll play him. Fantastic. Be very, very quiet. Dinosaurs out there. Fantastic. So you can put in all kinds of different elements into this particular diagram. And in addition to this, we can put photographs in, we can put pictures, we can put videos. So if I want to put a video in, now unfortunately, I don't think I have any small videos. No, I don't. Just give me one quick memento. Clips, what's in clips? Let's try this and see what it is. Okay. Unfortunately, my videos are a little bit unusual. I won't put them in. We can also put in icons as well. So you can pick and choose whichever icon you wanted to put in here as well. And of course, we can position them anywhere. You know, the beautiful thing about these is that the moment you start to play around with a design, Microsoft PowerPoint tries to give you suggestions. So here's my suggestions, ideas. And of course, I could pick different styles that I kind of like. We could have this one if we wanted to. Let's take a look at that one. So it automatically puts the style in, and it says you can add more if you want. You want to put something else in here too, you can do that. So it's nice because it allows me to pick and choose from a variety of different designs, and I can either create my own or I can let it do it for me. Either way. But the beautiful part here is you can use this tool by just simply clicking around and finding out what happens. Like, why is this? No, there's nothing there. So if I click on this little clock, I can put something around it. In other words, I can put, make it blue, or maybe I want to fill it with a color, so I could put yellow in there as well if I didn't like the blue. So you get to play a lot, but you got to experiment. You got to try different things and see what happens. So I'm just going to delete that. There we go. And that's as simple as just simply clicking on it and pressing delete. And remember, we can always undo it again. Just come up here and undo what we just deleted. So I just deleted something. I'll put it back and there it is. Or I can press delete again and it's gone. So when it comes to layering, in a sense, and we just looked at some of the different slides, and there are different layout styles that we can use. We can also arrange shapes. In other words, we can have a variety of different shapes, and the beauty here is you can pick and choose what you want. So there's my little happy face. I think he ate something he shouldn't have. He's green. But we can change that. If I don't think green looks good, I can come up here to fill and I can put in yellow. There you go. So now he's yellow. However, he's not happy because he was sad. Fantastic. So I can move that around a little bit. He's not too sure if he's happy or sad. Fantastic. And of course, the lines around him, well, they could be blue. Or maybe I want to choose something else. Let's say this green. There you go. So now this green color. Again, you get to play a lot and you get to experiment a lot. Don't be afraid to try different things and see what happens. We can make him three-dimensional. So if I'd like to make him, well, let's say we'll do this here. So now he's on an angle slightly. Again, you get to play around and you get to experiment and see what can I actually accomplish. Let's go back to clear. Fantastic. Good job. So these are different slides, but once we've actually gone through the home slide, then the next one here is called, oh, there is one other one here in the home tab I really like. Tell me how much you really like it. I really like this one. The reason I like this is because typing is slow. Now, all of you have received a code for your keyboarding, and that's so that you can practice your keyboarding. One of the things and the reasons why we even incorporated that program is because a lot of the, let's say, businesses had been telling us the one thing they were a little disappointed was the students not being able to use a keyboard efficiently. So we incorporated that program for you. But I really like this one feature here, and that's dictate. Because if I click it, because I have a microphone here, I would like to enter a slide. And you notice it's typing for me. And I don't have to do very much of anything, but I just keep talking and talking and talking and talking. Well, you get the idea. I'm still talking and it's still typing, and I'm talking and it's typing, and there's something wrong with it because it's typing until I turn it off. Fantastic. So I love this feature. I can sit at Word for hours and just dictate to it, and it's beautiful. It types for you. And here within PowerPoint, I talk, it types. I think this is brilliant. So this is a tool, really, it's a newer tool within Office, and it's a brilliant tool. Absolutely brilliant. We can also find and replace as well. And if you're not too sure about that creativity, remember, it will generate designs for you. It'll say, try this, see what happens, do that, see what happens. So if I click on it, it comes up with an idea. Maybe I don't like that one. And I can pick and choose whatever I actually would like to experiment with a little bit. You can always change the imagery. So I can always change this TRIOS College and type in something else entirely because it's just text. So this is a beautiful feature where you get to experiment a great deal with what is available to you. The next one is the Insert tab. Now, Insert is a little different because, once again, it has the slides. And if I want a new slide, I can add one anywhere I want. By the way, wherever you put your mouse and click, and you see that line appears there between the different thumbnails here, wherever that line is, that's where it's going to insert a new slide. So if I click on insert, let's say one of these slides here, then that's the kind of slide it puts in there as well. So Insert also has it. You can put in tables. We'll come back to this a little bit later. Pictures, if you have pictures that you'd like to put in, you can put those in. But there's lots of ones online as well. And screenshots is for the last two versions of Word, for Microsoft Office, I should say. They've incorporated this particular tool. So just so that we get a better idea of what this tool can do, I'm just going to open up a slide here. Fantastic. Okay, so I've opened this up, and I'd like to take a picture of this so that I can put it into my slide. So how do I do that? Go back here to my slide. And I'm simply going to put a picture in. So let's put a new slide in. And just for kicks, I'll put a blank in. There's my blank. And now I'll put in a screenshot. Now, when you click on screenshot, and I will come over this again and again a few more times later on, screenshot will immediately close or minimize PowerPoint. And it grays out the screen. Whatever I select, so I'm going to select Tweety Bird here. I was listening to Tweety a little earlier, so here we go. Let's just choose that. And now it pops that into my slide. Remember, it's floating, so I get to decide where it goes. Fantastic. And of course, if it's too big, I can make it smaller if I want to make it smaller. And I can put it anywhere I want it to be. So this is a beautiful feature. And of course, because it is an image, it gives me a brand new tab at the top as well called Picture Format. And here I can make all kinds of modification, maybe make it lighter. Maybe I want it to be a little bit more translucent. Maybe I want to remove something, or I want to try a different style, like maybe a different color. Maybe I'd like it to be blue. So now it's blue, and I can still move it around. And maybe I want to put, maybe I want to make it an oval. So we'll just click on oval, and there you go. Now it's an oval. So this tool, it really is a very significant tool. Let's go back here for a moment. So pictures, icons, shapes, if I want to put a shape in here. And of course, you can always put text inside of them as well. Maybe I want to put an arrow, like right here. There's my arrow. And I also want to put some text in there. So I'm just going to right click, and I'm going to say edit the text. And now I can type in this way, please. Fantastic. Not enough space, so I'll give it a little bit more space. There you go. So you can type in text as well if you want to. Fantastic. Like the insert. And of course, all the other little things that we've talked about are in there as well. I'm going to jump add-ins because this is not an area that is to our advantage at this point. Zooming, however, is. Now, for those of you using 2016, this may not be available. However, in 365, it is available, and in 2019, it's available. I'm not going to touch on it, but I want you to know it's here, and you can use this tool. It's a very interesting tool, very interesting indeed. But I'll let you play with that a little bit. Comments, perhaps maybe somebody wants you to comment on something. And yes, I can comment. I can say, is this really what you want? So is this what you intended? Okay, and I'll save this and I'll give it to someone else, and then they can come back and say, well, you know, maybe we can do something else. Okay, so let's try something else. So you can actually have this as an ongoing information about this slide. Maybe they want a different color or what have you. And you can leave comments for one another. And eventually, when everything is resolved, of course, we can remove it entirely and get rid of that information. Fantastic. Whoops, we're back here again. Delete that. So comments can be put in, text boxes. Maybe I forgot something. So I can actually put a box in here and then type some information. This is a text box. And of course, because it is a text box, if I click on it, it gives me a brand new tab. Now, one thing to keep in mind is whenever you have an object of any kind that you insert and you click on it, you'll have a new tab. And that new tab will give you options that you can actually experiment with. So if I click on it, I might want to put a bracket around, a color around it, or, you know, you can make it any way you want it to be here. So leave it the way it is for the moment. Fantastic. And I could maybe just put some color in the background. Maybe I'd like to have orange, or maybe green, or blue, or purple. Or maybe the text color is wrong, so I can change that as well. So again, you have to play, you have to experiment, get an idea of what you can accomplish, because there are so many possibilities here as to what you can do with it. It's just a little bit of creativity, and don't be afraid to experiment, just play. So I'm just going to remove that text box. And of course, we also have headers and footers. This is not the same thing as Word or Excel or Outlook. This is totally different. So if I take headers and footers, I might want to put a number, such as a page number. So if I click on it, it'll only apply it here or apply it to all of them. But it shows me where it's going to appear. So in this little preview, it shows me where that number will appear. So I'm going to click apply, and there's my page number. Page number 1. If I go to number 2, there's number 2. If I click on the third one, there's the third one. If I click on the 6th one, there's number 6. So it actually allows me to experiment quite a bit with them. And I can put in these little bits of information. Now, headers and footers, we'll talk about when we talk about printing a little bit later on tomorrow. But for the time being, it's enough to know that, yes, you can actually put in a slide number. You can even put in specialized footers into your slide as well. Fantastic. One of the things a lot of people love to put in is word art. So I'm just going to put a little word art in here. And let's see what we got. Kind of like this one. So we're going to use this one. And I'll just move it, drag it, and I'll type in TRIOS, TRIOS, and college. Please do not say TRIOS, TRIOS. It's TRIOS. How many of you know what TRIOS stands for? Anyone? Go ahead. Okay. TRIOS originally, just a little bit, a few years before I started teaching for them, used to mean triple operating system, because what we used to teach was computers. We taught Unix, we taught Novell, and we taught Microsoft. So that was the triple operating systems for a computer. So that's what TRIOS actually stands for, triple operating system. Of course, we've come a long way through the years teaching so many different subjects and also being defined as a college some 20 years ago. So let's just say I like this, but I don't like it. I'd like it to be bigger. It doesn't want to get bigger. So what if I highlight it? And you'll notice you get this nice little dialog box here. What if I change this to, let's drag that up to 96. Oh, that's much better. There you go. So now we can modify a little bit. And you know something? I don't like the black background. Okay, yeah, it looks nice. Everybody has black backgrounds. What I would like to have is something a little different. So I'm going to fill it with a picture. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, wait a minute, now I'd like to fill it with a picture. What kind of picture do you want to use? Well, let's just see what we have here. Let's try something like butterfly. Oh, there we go. So we got lots of butterflies here. There's weird little, I don't like that one either. That's a better one. We'll choose this one. There you go. So now I have a butterfly in the background. However, I was hoping that it was the text that I was changing. So no big deal. We'll just back up. And now we'll choose the text fill, which is over here. And I'll put a picture in. So let's choose something else. What else can we choose? Oh, honeycomb looks good. So we'll choose a honeycomb. And I'll insert that. And there's my honeycomb in the background. So you can actually experiment a great deal with this. And you can put in all kinds of things. If I want to put gold bars in there or cars or what have you, I can do that. That's a piece of cake. There's no difficulty whatsoever. And if I want to, well, now that I have this, maybe I want to change the design of it. Well, I can take a look at what they're offering me here. Maybe this one. No, I don't like that one. How about this one? Don't like that one. How about that one? Don't like that one. What else you got here? How about that one? Don't like that one. How about that one? Don't like that one. Well, you can make your own. No big deal. But the beauty here is that there are a lot of possibilities that you can experiment a little bit with. So in addition to the insert, we have other functions here as well. Sometimes you work in a company that uses mathematics to communicate ideas. Well, you have formulas, and though you may not be perfect in your formulas, you can substitute anything you put in here. So if I put a formula in, I can change the formula to fit what I would like. So I can change, maybe after epsilon, I want to change, instead of the sequence, I can change that as well. Okay, so you can always modify this to your heart's content. And of course, this goes for symbols as well. So many different symbols. Symbols not currently available because there's nowhere, remember, if I'm not choosing something. So if I click after INC, I can now choose symbol, and I can choose the copyright, okay? Or trademark. Trademark is better for this one. There you go. So now let's put trademark in here as well. So symbols can be put in. Of course, as I said before, you can even put in audio tracks. In other words, record yourself. Or I can put in videos. Okay, so it could be a really simple little video. Online videos, you get to decide what it is. I'll put in a tiger. No tiger, sorry, unavailable. So you can put in videos if you have a video. The only thing I want to caution you about videos is that they need to be very short. And I really mean short, because they will try to download to your computer and you will end up being the one who's actually supporting it. And if the link between you and the people watching it is a slow link, they're not going to see it. Recording the screen, once again, we talked about this a little bit. Let's just say I want to record this screen. Let's take Tweety Pie here. Sylvester and Tweety. Perfect. Fantastic. Okay, so let's just record that. We're going to create a little video. I hate these ads. Okay, enough of that. Fantastic. Where are my instruments? Okay, copy that. Okay. Yeah, it didn't help, did it? Okay, it's still trying to do the same thing. Isn't that the pits? So I've lost control of it again. Give me 1 second. Oops. Okay, where are we? Insert media. It's still trying to record. Okay, give me 1 second. I have to close this. Okay, that's better. It's still doing it. Still doing it. 1 second. I seem to have run into a slight issue. Um, 1 moment. I'll be right back. Let me just get rid of this. Ay, ay, ay. That's got it. Okay, my apologies. It got stuck on the screen recording. So these things do happen. I have so many things running in the background that I think that's probably what happened. It got a little bit lost. No big deal. So the next one here that we're going to take a look at, let me just open this back open. So once again, for insert, these are some of the things that are available to you. And once again, what we're really doing here, we're not playing around with the text so much. We're inserting objects. And that's what insert really does. Design, on the other hand, allows us to modify the theme or the colors that are available to us. Maybe I'm not so keen on the appearance here, so I can try a different theme. Maybe this theme, or maybe I want to try this theme, or maybe this one here. There's many different themes that are available to you, and you can explore them and you can play around and you can jump from one to the other and see what would it look like if I chose a particular theme. Again, you have a lot of leeway here as to how it turns out and what it's going to look like as you begin to play around a little bit with some of these. And the good news is you can always create your own. So if you want to browse themes that you've created as well, you can do that. So what if I change it to this purple one? Well, then I can come in here and say, I don't like the purple, I like orange. Or maybe I don't like the orange, maybe I want to change some of the color combinations. Maybe I want this, no, I like this, no, maybe this, no, that one, this one, that one, this one, this one, this one, that one. So you get to choose whatever it is that you want to use as your particular theme and your style of theme. And again, you get to experiment a great deal. So you can always come in here and make modifications to it. The theme that is almost always incorporated at the very beginning is what we call the office theme. So when you put your mouse over them, you'll always get a tooltip that kind of tells you exactly what it happens to be. So in this case here, it happens to be the office theme. So right again, we're back to the beginning. So themes, and of course, being able to change some of those backgrounds. Maybe I want to put my own images into the background. So here we have designs that I could put in. Maybe I have a picture. So let's just put a picture in the background here. Maybe we'll insert my own picture. So insert, and let's look for an image online. There's a good one, baseball or here, cookie cutter. Fantastic. So I got a cookie cutter. So if I was teaching somebody how to cook, maybe I'd like to put this background in. But there are millions of possible pictures that you could actually put into the background. Or again, leave it as empty. It's up to you. There's lots of different possibilities. Transitions we'll talk about later. This is how we go from one slide to another slide. So if I actually wanted to move from that first slide to this one, I could say, let's do something you'll be able to see. Vortex. Let's see the vortex. Super duper. There you go. So from one slide to the other slide, and if I want to see it again, I can preview. Kind of looks good. Looks like my breakfast. Glitter. Fantastic. So transitions can be used between slides when we're actually demonstrating something. And animations, we'll talk a great deal about this a little bit later on. And of course, slideshow. You may decide that you don't want to show all your slides. Maybe you only want to show a certain number of them. Well, you can decide what custom arrangement you want and where you want to start, from the current slide or from the very beginning. And of course, any custom. But you can also do this based on time, where it does it automatically. Reviews, again, spelling, if you're not too good at spelling, this speller will help you out. Just make sure you're using the Canadian dictionary. Americans don't know how to spell very well, but it's usually the first dictionary that goes in. Translating, if there are different languages that you're working with. And of course, comments. And we'll come back to comments a little bit later as well. Now, view is important to you because of what it does. I do not want you to play with the master. Okay, this is something I don't want you playing with right now until you get used to using this tool. But the normal view is what you see right now. So here I can see the area that I'm working with. So here we go back to TRIOS College and we have Learn Right. And if I use just the outline view, this thumbnail will disappear. In fact, I'll see whatever's on the slide. So if I click on thumbnail, I will see thumbnail. If I click on the outline view, I'll actually see what's inside that slide. And you know something, I don't even have to do it here. This says that product review meeting. Well, what if I decided I would like to modify that a little bit? I can actually come in here, I can move it around. I can expand it, collapse it. I can create new slides at that position, reuse the slide over and over again. There's a lot of little nuances that are actually possible for me. We can modify the text that's in here. Simply come over here and modify what's in there, and that'll modify this. So let's do that. I'm going to add one more line. Was here, and of course it puts it right down here as well, so we now know that he was here. Fantastic. So you can actually see what's on a particular slide. In fact, we can even print this information. Slide sorter. So here I have 7 slides. Well, I now have 8 because of this extra one, but I could move that. Let's say I'll put it over here. And this one here, I think I'm moving over here. Oh no, I like this one over here. This sounds like a woman. I'll move this one over here. Oh, shift it over there. I'll put that one there. Oh, we'll put this one back here. So you can actually move these things around anywhere you want them to. If you decided I need to make some changes, you can then shift your slides around anywhere you want them to be. The notes, remember I put a note on the very first one? And I put this little note underneath. So now I can actually print it like this. So if I fill this up with information about what's on the slide, I could use this as a handout to the people who might be listening. The reading view actually means that I can now just simply read what's on each slide and jump from one slide to the next slide. So all of these things are possible here. Piece of cake. And of course the notes, I can turn the notes off if I want them off or leave them back on. I can put a ruler in here if I want a ruler. So I'm just going to switch back here to the normal. And I can put a ruler in. So now I can see what the sizing would be. And I can put lines in if I want grid lines. So I can, let's say, make sure that this is, in a very specific location. I can do that as well. And I can put guides in if I want to put guidelines in. So here's a guideline in the middle. Fantastic, my guidelines. And of course, when it comes to zooming in and zooming out, there are different things that I can do. Zoom to the window, okay, which it is right now, or I can change the zooming, maybe only 33%. There you go, so now it's even smaller. This is kind of useful when it comes to animations. When we get to animations, you'll understand why I say it's more useful when it's smaller. But there is a reason, and we'll come back to that. So fit it. There we go. So it's fitting back into my screen again. Fit to the window. Also, it can be color or grayscale. Now, when it comes to printing, I strongly recommend that you are very careful how you print. because most computers and most printers will try to print according to what is actually there. And of course, if I want to see the window or see multiple windows at the same time, I can do that as well. So fundamentally, there are some amazing capabilities to this product. And what I want you to do is experiment. So when you open up that demo file I gave you, go to town, click on everything, see what happens, type information, move it around so that it's on one side, the other side, in the middle, put in bullet points. So when I actually decide to put in bullet points, so maybe I'll highlight this and I'll change it to numbers instead. Well, I can use these numbers or the alphabet, or I can go in here and choose something totally different. Maybe what I really want to choose is something else. So come in here for bullet points, and let's say I want to use pictures. Well, I can go in and find a picture that I want to use. What do we got? Let's use the little bee for a moment. There you go. So now there's little bees instead of buttons or instead of bullet points. So you get to decide what you want to put in and how you want to experiment. You want to push it around a little bit, make it smaller and smaller by indenting, changing the indent. You want multiple columns. Maybe you have 2 or 3 columns. You can do that. You can experiment and see what happens when you actually do something. And you want to play around a little bit with some of the alignment for text, maybe at the bottom or in the middle or the top. But the only way you will ever learn how to use this product well is if you experiment a little bit and see what can it actually do for me, and how can I manipulate it and play around a little bit and make it different. Insert images and do things like that, copy things and paste them. So you get to experiment a little bit and see what will happen next. Fantastic. So I'm just simply going to do one more thing here. I'm going to walk you through Cengage. For the older students, I'd like you to go to Cengage. I've given you in the chat. You have your code that is available to you. So this code right here, let's pull that across. Okay, so the code is right here, the MTPN. For the newer students who have just started today, yours is a little different. Let me just pull it up here for you. I'm just going to grab one of them here for a moment. This is Shandi's. We open it up. There we go. Okay. So you all receive, the newer students, you've received an email from TRIOS Materials. And inside of that particular email, there's a yellow banner. Okay, and you can see this yellow banner. Do not attempt to register by yourself. Okay, this is important. However, and I'm just simply going to highlight this here, and I'm going to block it out for you as well. Let me just pull that across here for a second. Even better if we get it off there. There we go. Just give me one momento. Just 1 second. Okay, so for each of you, you each received your own email. This is not something where you use the same numbers that everybody else uses. You receive this email, and inside of it is a link. When you click on this link, and I'm just clicking on that link, it opens up this screen here, which says PowerPoint 2016, September 2020. And you are going to type in the email address that you currently have. You're going to create a brand spanking new account. Okay, so you're creating a new account, you're typing in that email, And let me just, I'll use the email that I have right now. I just pull this off of here. I'm just going to copy Shandy's Clark. There you go. And I'm just going to type that in there. So I'm pasting it. Get rid of that mail to crap. There we go. And then you're going to click on Create. And it's going to bring you to this screen. You fill this out, okay? Eastern Standard Time is correct. You are connecting to TRIOS. And then you're going to say, yes, I have read. You put a little check mark in here by clicking. Put all this information in. I don't have access to this. This is up to you to figure out what you want to put in. As soon as you click on Create, it's going to take you to another screen, which is going to ask you for one thing, and that is a number. And just below your email address here, where it says below is your login information, it's going to put a number. And that particular number is unique to each one of you. So do not try to copy what you see here. This is wrong. This is for someone else entirely. You will have your own number. When you type that number in, okay, very important, when you type that number in, it is going to give you direct access. And let me just open that. Oh, it shut it again on me. I hate this thing. So you're going to type all this information in, put in your code, and then I'm just simply going to log in again. One of the problems I run into with Cengage is it locks me out after 5 minutes of not using it. So just keep in mind, it's kind of, if you're not using it all the time, it tends to log you out. And the password, remember, you're creating your own password. So please do not forget your password. If you do, you'll have a hell of a time trying to get back in. And the only people who can help you is the support people at Cengage. So it's really important that you never forget what that number is. So once you actually go into Cengage for the first time, you put in your number, it's going to bring you to a page, and you will click on PowerPoint, and it will bring you to this page. Everything here, you'll be able to see your grades. You'll be able to see the training by simply clicking on PowerPoint and opening up section number 1. You'll see the training here, and you'll see the book. On the right-hand side are a few different options. And they also, there'll be a book there, which is the entire book. So you'll be able to click on that. There you go. And you'll see a little icon here that lets you expand it. There you go. So now the whole book is here. And I can go through the book and I can take a look at it if I want to. I can look at the different sections that are in it as well. Eventually we'll get to those sections. Okay, so I can jump around the pages, or I can click on the left-hand side here and take a look at the different segments inside of that book. I'll just close that with a little X here. There you go, right back again. And of course, your training will be here. So what I'd like everyone to do is go to Cengage. For the newer students, use the link in your email that will take you to the Cengage website. Use the information to log in for the first time. As I pointed out.
Hi, Michael.
That's me again.
Lani is still here.
Okay, Lenny.
Yeah.
If anyone has any difficulty whatsoever with their code that they've received, or you haven't received it, definitely make sure that you are checking your TRIOS email, not your regular email, your TRIOS email, because it will be sent to you there. If it does not work, then I want you to connect with Lanny here, and she's going to help you with that.
Okay, so it seems like everybody got the code. So I have checked the name. So except for one student to be added, Nilam. I just want to check with Nilam. Is Nilam in right now?
Let me just double check. Annie Lamb? Did you say Annie Lamb?
Nilam Kumari, something
Oh,
like that.
Neelam. Let's just double check. Neelam, yep. Neelam? Neelam?
Hi.
Did you get an email yet from TRIOS?
Okay, I check. No, I didn't get.
No?
Okay. Yeah, because I did not receive the CC copy of the email. That's why. So I'll check and we'll we'll get the code for you. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. Okay, Michael.
Yep.
So I'll request for Nilam's code and then I will send it to her. Okay.
Great. Would you
Perfect.
send it to me as well so that we both have a copy?
Okay, sure. They will send it to us as CC copy.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, Leilani.
You're welcome. Bye bye.
Bye, Leilani.
Yes.
Bye. Have a great
Bye.
day.
Bye, Lilani.
Bye.
So, Neelam,
Yes.
okay, good job. So what I want you to do, because you need to wait for your code a little bit, I want you to open up PowerPoint and experiment, play, okay? I did send you a demo file, so
Okay.
you can open that up and you can play around a little bit until the code is sent to you. As soon as the code is sent to you, I'll walk you through if you have any difficulty with it, but you shouldn't have any problems.
Yes, I understand.
Okay,
Yeah, I understand. Thank you, sir.
fantastic. And for everyone else, go to Cengage, start working on the training there. And remember, you want to go over that training until it is so clear that you can use it in, let's say, your sleep. It's no problem whatsoever to actually use it. I'm going to take the video that I've created and I'm going to post it a little bit later. Usually it takes about 40 minutes before it's posted correctly, but it'll be in that special Teams PowerPoint section. And I will see everybody here tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. So make sure you log in again. And if you need me, I'm still here. So always just reconnect to Teams and I'll be here for you. Somebody has their hand up.
Hi, Michael. It's Katie Ann. There's no code for me. I don't have a code. I didn't get an email. What's a code?
Okay, but it's the same as you had before. It's when you log in,
Yeah.
you're in the Excel, correct?
PowerPoint.
Oh, you weren't in Excel?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yes, I was.
Okay, so it's the same thing. Just log in there, but use the code I put in the chat.
Okay.
Okay, in the chat, I actually put this code. You can see it on my screen.
Oh, see it.
Yeah, put
Okay.
that code in. Yep,
All right then. Thank you.
yep. Anyone else? Okay, have a great day.
You too, Michael. Have a good
Thank
day.
you, Michael.
Bye, Michael.
Yeah,
Michael, I have a question.
yep.
I know we're doing PowerPoint now, but my last my Excel program,
Okay.
it wasn't like I didn't complete all the tasks. because certain cases, like the time got locked out, and then I just wasn't prepared for the exam as much as I should have been, and I don't think that I did as good on the exam as I thought I did. So like, is there a supplemental like solution here?
Yeah, what you need to do is contact Uzma,
Okay.
and she will set it up.
Okay.
Okay, so you need to contact her. She'll set up an alternate time or a date, or she'll send it to me and then I can set it up, but I can't do it by myself.
That's fine. Okay, I just wanted to know. Thank you.
Yep, not a problem.
Okay. Good luck. Bye.
Yep.
Is that all for today, Michael?
That's it. Just make sure you're doing the training at Cengage.
Sure, Michael. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yep, Joe.
Bye, Michael. Take care. Have a good one.
Yep, take care.
Thanks, Michael. Have a great day, everyone.
Take care.